Hello tarot readers, I'm just doing a small video today on the Devil card. I've noticed a lot of people really seem to see the Devil card as one of the worst card, a really negative card. And I think that's right in a lot of ways. It can be a very negative card. But it's not always going to be negative. It depends on the context. It also depends if there's a question on the table. And it depends on the other cards that come out with it. So it's not always going to be negative. Let's just take a look at the Devil card. This is from the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot. Ooh. And as we can see, we have an image of the devil. He's sat there with his horns. He's got bat wings. He's sat on this throne in hell. And down here we have this couple, these two naked people. And these people, we've seen them before. We saw them in the Lovers card. They're just an evolution of the Lovers card. Now, in the Lovers card, they had choices to make, choices about where they were going to go, what they were going to do, if they was going to stay together, if they was going to go off with somebody else. They had all these decisions to make, temptations coming their way. They had this angel type character at the top, kind of pulling on their strings a little bit. And then we jump over to the Devil card, and now they've left the Garden of Eden. Adam and Eve are no longer in the Garden of Eden. Instead, they're in hell. And now they're tied together with these chains. Now, they're totally enslaved to each other, and they're enslaved to this devil. So we're talking now about our loss of liberty, our loss of freedom, our loss of free will, our loss of making decisions. It's all kind of gone. And now we're enslaved in hell to the devil. Ooh, so it really does sound like a negative card. But we've got to remember, a lot of the time, the hell is what we place on things ourselves. So that's why it's such a hard card to understand, because we're stuck in like this mind hell, really. It's not a physical hell most of the time, it's a mind hell. Now, this devil has got on his head, he's got this inverted pentagram, and I don't know if you can see that in this card. It's much like the pentagram I use and wear, and the pentagram in the coins. But it's not, because the point that goes upwards in the pentagram, in this case, it's upside down. And the point's going down, showing the underground, indicating that's where this is coming from. It's coming from a lower energy field. Everything that's going on here is about the underground and that low energy field. Whereas a pentagram like the one I'm wearing goes up towards heaven, towards God, towards the higher levels. So we're talking on a very low level. Now, what does the devil do? The devil tempts us. So it's all about that dark temptation. And them dark temptations can often be addictions. So it may be somebody who has, who takes drugs, alcohol, too much work, too much food, too much of anything. Anything that's quite addictive on a negative level. Somebody who likes the darker side of sex. Somebody who's a bit perverse, somebody who's quite unstable or very dark-minded type of person, and very negative thoughts, very negative mindset. And we'll find that a lot with these kind of manipulative people like the devil, that they can often be very negative. So they not only they manipulate you, but all the temptations are the darker ones, and all the manipulation really is for their gain and not yours. But like I said, the good thing about this card is, even though it's about being tied to something, being tied to someone, being in a dark place, having a dark mindset, toxic relationships, toxic people, negativity, it sounds pretty dramatic. But if I wanted a mortgage and I wanted to go to the bank, and I wanted the bank to give me that mortgage, which would be, let's just say, a 30-year mortgage, and every month I've got to make them repayments for 30 years, that is really being tied to something. Now, even though that may be something I really want, it can show up as the devil card because it's being tied to something. So it doesn't always mean it's something horrible or something dark. It just means sometimes it's showing us that we're going to be tied to a certain situation. This can also come up if it's a work contract. You know, somebody who's saying, oh, you know, I really need a job, I've got this kind of thing, are they going to give me a contract? And this card can come up to say, yeah, they're going to give you a contract. Of course, you'll be tied to that contract then, you know, 7 days a week, 8 hours a day, you're going to have to go to work. But it may be exactly what the person wants. So it's not always the dark side. And if it was an advice card, say it was a come up and you said, have you got any advice for me? And this card came out, then maybe we're talking about, well, yeah, let your hair down. You know, sometimes we need to look at our shadow side. Sometimes we need to kind of put a foot in our darker side, play around with our temptations, play around with kind of, you know, that little bit of perverse darkness inside each and every one of us. Now, of course, as long as it's not hurting anybody and it's not hurting yourself and nobody's in danger and there's nothing bad going on, you know, sometimes it is just about go and have fun, enjoy it, put your toes in that dark side and just have a little bit of fun. So on some occasions it's talking about that. You know, if somebody maybe doesn't like to go out ever and say, oh no, I don't like to go out, I like to sit at home in the evenings and watch my TV, that's the kind of lifestyle I've got. Maybe this card say, well look, next time somebody invites you out, go and have a dance, go out, let your hair down, kind of break away from the routine. Or sometimes it's saying, you know, what's the advice? Have you got an advice from it? And this card comes up. It may just be saying it's time to free yourself. It's time to free your mind. It's time to come out of a situation that you've been tied to for a while, or get away from the negative people around you. And sometimes it's as simple as just being ill for a few days. Maybe you've got your period if you're a woman, or you've got something going on like that, and you're just going to be tied to that for a few days, and your kind of world's going to revolve around that for a couple of days. So it doesn't have to be anything that dramatic. So when this kind of comes up, obviously the mindset of somebody is the first place that we want to kind of go to here. Somebody's mind's not right. Now, interesting enough though, what we don't know in this card is who we are. Are we the devil card? Are we the devil? Are we the person that's causing somebody else temptations, darkness, harm, sadness? Are we hurting somebody? Are we manipulating somebody without realizing it? A lot of parents do that without realizing it. They kind of manipulate, or they want to control their children no matter how old they are, you know, especially if they're older. They want to kind of control them. So sometimes it can be coming out that we're that devil person. Or sometimes we're being very negative to work colleagues, or we're criticising somebody, or we're just being quite negative in general. And that card can come out for that reason. So sometimes we're the devil. Sometimes it will come out when somebody else is our devil. So it's like, oh, yeah, I've met a man called John, what's he like? And this card comes out, be like, well, be careful, because he's quite a negative kind of person, and he can offer you, you know, all that glitters isn't gold. He can offer you something that sounds great, but just watch out for it, because it may be in the long term, in the long run, it may not be the best thing for you. So we're kind of seeing somebody else as a devil. Or it can talk about the relationship. I mean, this relationship, how it's going, it's toxic, it's negative, you're feeling tied together, you need to get free. You should be together because you want to be together, not because you have to be together. So we don't know just by looking at the card which one our client or which one we are, but we will know that in a reading. Obviously, when we're doing a reading, we'll be able to see who we are, why the devil cards come up, and if it's as bad as what the card actually is. You know, but the hell is often our mind hell. The being tied is often our own lack of freedom, where we've kind of given it away, or we've let somebody take our freedom, our choices from us. And that negativity is very easy to change into positivity. So that's kind of a quick look at the devil card there. But now, you know, I'm going to just compare them with a few other decks. So this is the Visconti Tarot. And if we look at, this is from Los Caraballo, and if we look at this devil card, this is horrible. This is very distorted, and this is like kind of evil, this card. And you've got this devil who's kind of eating this man, and then this head and one leg there. It's just really weird. And to me, it talks more about how some people who are living in hell do see the world very distorted. You know, people who are living a lot of problems and they're going through hard times and they're in toxic relationships, they will see the world in quite a distorted way. So that kind of shows that, and it's not a very nice card, but that's what it does say to me. If we get the Spanish tarot, this nice Spanish tarot, then we've got like this really ugly devil card in blue, and these kind of children, but they're not, they're kind of creatures, people, unsure what they are, but it just shows the underworld, that distortion again of the underworld. One of them's got this big eye, the other one's got this kind of, the features are not real features. So it shows that distortion. And of course, there's the devil being like the king on top of him. Like, I'm watching you. You're not leaving here because I'm watching you. So of course, they're going to feel like we'll never get out of these chains. There's no way out. You know, there is no way out of this living hell because he's watching us so closely. So it just gives it that much pressure when we see the devil like that. And here, again, he's got these, you know, on this one, he's got a face on his belly as well. Total distortion. And now if we go to the tarot, if we go to the Marseilles Tarot, this is the new tarot of Marseilles, and this is from Los Caraballo again. Then we have a similar image. He hasn't got the face on the stomach, but he's got this weird kind of characters going on in these people. Again, totally tied, really focused on the chains. Now, if you look at Everyday Witch Tarot, a deck I really, really love and I've used a lot, and I connect a lot with this deck now that I've started using it. We have this devil card that is one of my least favourite devil cards. Now, you've got this guy in the back and you can see him, he's like the devil, and you've got this young girl and this young boy, and the devil's tempting this young boy with a bag of coins or bag of money, and he's tempting the young girl with an ice cream. It gives me quite a sickly and an uncomfortable feeling, this devil. It just makes me feel very uncomfortable. If it would have been a couple, it would have been probably, for me, a perfect ideal card. But it's not a couple, it's young children. It looks like young children to me. They certainly don't look over age anyway. So that makes it just feel a lot more sicker, and we're really going into the dark side now. And that's kind of a place I don't want to go in my readings. Of course, every tarot reader is different. So yeah, I think that depends on each tarot reader. For me, that's just a little bit too dark, that card. Now, when we go to the Lightseers Tarot, Chris Ann's amazing deck. Now, I kind of always pull this deck out, and I'm always giving this deck a recommendation because it really is an amazing deck. And I connect with it so well. And with the devil card here, we've kind of got a perfect devil card as well. Because we've got this guy, and he looks good looking, and he's kind of tempting you as the devil card we're expecting him to do. And he's got his hand held out where he's kind of got like a puppet on a string for this young guy who's sat there with a hoodie on and his hands on his head like that. Now, this looks a little bit like the Magician card because he's got a hoodie on as well. But he's just sat there like that, and he looks desperate. He looks absolutely devastated, this young man. I don't know if you can see it properly. And the devil is just playing his game, manipulating, treating him like a puppet. You know, come with me, I'm good looking, I'm great. And it can be a woman, a lot of women do this as well. But once you get kind of tuck into that world, it's very hard to come out of. So I think it's a really great modern kind of vibe to this card. I know that a lot of people, a lot of tarot readers, when they see something with this card, very, very dark, a lot of them it's because they're feeling that vibe, and that's the way it comes out. So watch your vibe when you're doing it as well. Just think to yourself, is it what I'm seeing, is it really that bad? Or is it just showing me that there's something negative, something connected to the devil card? But it doesn't have to be so beep, 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 psycho. Hope you enjoyed my little video. If you did, hit like, subscribe to my channel, share me around. It's still a really new channel and I'm trying to get subscribers, so if you could share me on your social media, I'd really appreciate that. And if you want more videos like this one, let me know in the comments and I'll do more videos there. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.